Hello, welcome to another episode of playing Crusader Kings 3 using the hardest possible rule set. Starting in 867 as a stewardship-focused landless adventurer. We are still playing that character, even though he is quite elderly at this point, age 89. We rule over the kingdoms of Frisia, France, Lotharingia. We are a vassal in this very large empire of Germania, which unsurprisingly is ruled over by a scourge conqueror. It was originally created by Sigurdr Snake in the Eye, who starts in these Danish islands here. And he had created most of this realm, and his son here has expanded it. We, in the meantime, are looking to conquer more and more of Western Europe, expand our realm, become more powerful underneath his umbrella. Our goal is at a certain point when we become sufficiently powerful, if our liege loses a Scourge Conqueror trait, or if otherwise the time is right, we can attack him and try to take over this realm or some significant portion of it. You can see Britannia here also used to be ruled by a Scourge Conqueror, but no longer. It's ruled by this guy now, who's actually he's an okay character, despite having a poor education. Does have a lot of gold. And so our most immediate concern is we're on total exclave independence, and so if we do die, we would lose the Duchy of Swabia here, because it's not actually connected to the rest of our territories, but there are ways to fix that, particularly attacking either this woman for Duchy of Croatia, or attacking this gentleman for the Duchy of West Franconia, or doing both. Because we do eventually want to move into the kingdom of Germany. Now East Francia, it will be Germany when we take it over. Also, we have two quite young sons, 5 and 1, even though we're 89. Of particular note, our 1-year-old is a genius. If there were some way that we could live to be 103 and make him our heir, and once he becomes an adult, then that would be great. I don't know that it's feasible, so in the meantime, we'll just keep an eye on our health and see where things go. I just really like having everyone pay here. I know it's tyranny, but yeah, I really love gold. Having more gold is just so beneficial. There's truly never been a time in this game where I was like, I wish I had less gold. And the only time when I've ever thought I have enough gold is, when we're really getting toward the the end of the challenge part of the game, and I have 200,000 or more gold. Then I'm satisfied. But until then, always want more gold. And the reason for that simply is you can turn gold into everything else. You can turn gold into more gold by constructing buildings. You can turn gold into piety by hosting funerals and pilgrimages. Turn gold into prestige through hunts, feasts, creating titles. You can turn gold into a military force to defend yourself. And so really, gold is at the heart of everything, at least for feudal clan administrative rulers. A little bit different for tribal and nomadic. For tribal, unsurprisingly, unsurprisingly for tribal, your prestige and level of fame is extremely important. And then for nomadic, of course, it's really your herd is what you want to be focused on. But even for those, gold is also important. I want to take a look at my realm and the rulers within it. who are not Catholic by rank, because I would like them to become Catholic. Some of these people are not my direct vassals. No, they're vassals of vassals. I have a bunch of duke vassals, and we have these counts underneath them. At the moment, I'm really sort of waiting for either the Duke of Lotharingia or the Duchess of Crusader to die so I can attack them. Or if our truce with Crusader ends in 21 months, that also works. You can see that our liege is staying active here. And in terms of attacking people, we will he looks good. Again, we want to breed in strong genetic traits to our dynasty, in particular intelligence traits. You know, there's just a world of difference between a regular character and one that is a genius. It's 25 skill points, and also the genius gets lifestyle perks much faster, so it's just very important to have those intelligence traits. We are currently 1 over our domain limit. There are various ways to fix that if I wanted to. Most obviously being to give away one of these counties, but I think just being 1 over the domain limit is not a huge deal. Let's check in on our children here. There was a prior episode where I really stressed the importance of paying attention to your children, your potential heirs, and I sometimes have not been as strict about doing that in this game as I should have been. There are sometimes I've missed opportunities to instill good personality traits, and so for these 2 children, I really want to keep an eye on them. Especially when our youngest one here turns 3, that's the one who's a genius. And if there were some way to get him to be our heir, that would be great. The most obvious way is if he becomes 16, the age of majority, we can declare him to be our co-monarch. Okay, I think I'm done with swaying that guy. Let's see who else I can sway in our realm. Anyone who doesn't like me very much. Most of the powerful ones seem to like me all right. And again, a lot of what we're doing here is try to set up for my heir, whoever that might be. We want to have our vassals like us as much as possible, since some of that opinion of us goes over to our heirs. Don't want to go to a university visit both because I'm very old and because we just got the faltering heart trait, meaning that we really don't want to get stressed. Okay, so you can see here that the ruler of Lotharingia just died. We want Rust Franconia. Vastly inferior military strength. That sounds like it is bad news for him. See here we have quite a good... Actually, let's change that so it's closer to his capital. We have quite a good military force here. Very heavy on heavy infantry. Indeed, besides our catapults, everything is heavy infantry. Varangian veterans, Huskarls, retinue vanguard, and then also armored footmen. So 4 different types of heavy infantry. One, it's a bit debatable, whether that's a great idea. The reason that I've done it that way is, simply I think those are the best troops available. When you are playing on the hardest possible rule set and you're playing against Scourge conquerors, and even the regular AI has special advantages. You really do want to pay attention to countering their armies. Here, I don't know that the people surrounding me really have built their armies in such a way that I need to counter them at the moment. And also in terms of heavy infantry, we have a maxed out Accolade Knight who's a vanguard, which gives us plenty of benefits, bonuses in terms of our heavy infantry. And so that's why we've been constructing our army in such a way to take advantage of that and really focus on heavy infantry. Guess we'll take the pelt because we have so few artifacts. And that other decision was simply to give our son some extra learning at the cost of a very small amount of stress. Okay. So here, I really want him to have the best education possible in terms of the number of stars he gets. Really would like to have him be a 4-star if possible. And so I'm almost certainly going to go with either learning or stewardship. The question becomes which one. And at this point, stewardship is incredibly useful if you're going to build a lot of buildings. For people who've seen my prior series, you know that I love having my first character be stewardship when I play in 1066 and 1178. That's because you have a lot of buildings to build. Your domain counties have very little built in them, and you have 3 or 4 slots, and you're really trying to build up your counties so they generate gold, have economic buildings, also have military buildings to support your military, improve their toughness, attack, and so forth. But if you don't have to build a lot of buildings and you're not in dire economic straits, stewardship is less useful. Learning, obviously sanctioned loopholes, one of the strongest perks in the game. There are a number of other benefits to learning. Also being able to live incredibly long under the whole of body tree, which is how our current character, part of the reason has lived so long is he's gone up to whole of body. Um, I think we are probably better off for this character to have a learning I'm pausing because I'm just thinking, even if we don't build, the question is our gold here. Will we want this character to be stewardship so that he can go down the avaricious tree and generate enough gold so that we don't have a problem, particularly when we raise our armies. Our current character is a veteran adventurer, which means we get minus 50% to our army cost. So this would be significantly higher once if we were to not have those benefits. Is that, yeah. Maybe the safer thing to do is to make him a stewardship character, especially since I'm stewardship. Yeah, it'll be. I think that's probably the best thing to do, just to make sure we have enough gold. And then the downside is that it's more difficult to get claims because he won't have sanctioned loopholes immediately. But that is something that we can get. And in fact, if you are a level 5 stewardship character, a golden sovereign, then you get a bonus, I think like a plus 25% bonus to learning. So it's a bit easier if you're at the highest levels of stewardship to increase your learning as well. Okay, but I picked up another domain holding somewhere. It was probably when I was building another city or temple or something. Okay. Now we have Franconia. Unfortunately, we did not get any counties with it. I think we would just give it to this person that we just took it from, I believe. Let's look at how close we are to getting Germany / East Franconia. You would give us one, I think, one county fewer than we need. Maybe a couple, actually, because I think one of our counties is in Bavaria. Elbow high. Oh, poor short people. Also like to demand your conversion, please. Okay. So, well, whatever. We'll take the risk of that, of some little bit of inbreeding. Really want to get this, genius trait um, firmly entrenched in our bloodline. Um, the other option would be to marry him to someone who's Herculean or beautiful, but I'd really rather have, especially if we're going to take over as him, just have it where we know guaranteed that all of his children are going to be geniuses. That would be just very powerful. In terms of the 3 genetic traits, genius is just much more powerful than the other 2, frankly. Maybe I'll hold off. I want to think about where I want to put that holy order. Check here to see if there's anything we need to be concerned about in the tips. So he is defending. Yeah, I think the way things are split up, might as well just attack Crasia first. If I could increase my legitimacy, that would also help, perhaps. Let's go ahead and take her territory. We'll raise our armies quite close to her. This is sometimes dangerous, but I don't think she's going to be able to do much about it. Your armies are just so much smaller and worse than mine that I think she is clearly going to be in bad shape. This is our 7-year-old. I guess we could do that as well. The same sort of reasoning applies for our youngest son here. Make him diligent to start. Just a ton of stats. Love diligent. Let's see if we have any subjects that we need to sway. Anyone who doesn't like us. Most of them want. Most of our will like us. I guess we can sway him a bit. Maybe I should look more at that flood relief. I usually don't because other people handle it, but there could be more benefits to it that I could take advantage of. So we will complete this siege well before his. We can go up there and attack him once we're done, hopefully. Okay, we had this happen before and got lucky. Let's see what we can do here. Obviously, I think the middle one. We do it again. Yep. This character has lived through a random harm event where he had a 60% chance of dying. And then that's the second event that you just saw in terms of that could have rendered him incapable, where he had better odds for both of those, but there was still a real chance that he would be Incapable, which is a terrible trait. We'll give you back your title. Also would like you to convert. You apparently don't want to convert. We will send you a gift. Now will you please convert? Good. We're too short, okay. Obviously our liege rules there. Could do is get Marburg and Cassel as individual titles and then give them to our second son. I think that makes sense. Our second son being this guy. We don't want to play him because he's shy. He only has a 2-star education. See if our armies need to reinforce. Looks like no. Talked about before, I usually, if I vassalize someone, I want them to have at least normal obligations. Doesn't look like that guy wants to do that, so we won't vassalize him for now. Massive 2 gold ransom. I can claim my liege's. Oh, wait, what? He has the Earldom of Barry? Oh, I'm not sure why he has that. Don't particularly care. He's probably about to give it to me. Indeed. We'll just hand out this title to this person because they hold the duchy building, and we don't want or need that title. All right. Grab these 2 counties. Don't foresee any issues. We'll give them to our second son, as is talked about. And then we should be able to form the Kingdom of Germany. Let's also take a look at our 2 youngest children. 2 youngest sons, at least. Let's see if we can influence their personalities. Yep, we'll have him further his education. I like gold. I like my potential heirs to have good education even more. Okay, he has to enforce it. I mean, I don't think he can, so I don't really care. I think we're going to break that patrol, though, if I can. The obvious problem being that you are a leper. We'll see if we can marry her to someone who is not a leper. Ideally, someone capable of having children. See, there's someone who's pure-blooded there, but that's not terribly relevant for me at the moment. They focus on the intelligence trait, as we've discussed before. And just so many grand tournaments that I wish I could go to, but not really a point in it because our character is incredibly infirm among his many other ailments. So a new antiquarian. Not a big concern there. Let's just check to make sure there's nothing else we need. I really wish I would get some court artificers to make some artifacts. That would really help. You can see we are up here on grand lodgings, but it just is not making a difference, unfortunately. Or not enough of a difference, at least. So we'll increase our amenities a bit here. You know, we get more development growth in our realm capital. That's good. The Earldom of Burgundy. Again, I don't give away the Earldom of Upper Burgundy here to this fellow. I'm well over the duchy limit. Part of that is because I'm holding these two duchies for some of my sons. What are the other? Lower Lotharingia, holding because I'd like to get Cologne at some point. Frisia is my main, and Jülich is because I hold Cleves. Okay. Just wanted to check to make sure there was some reason why I was holding all of these duchies. And two of them I'll lose on succession, which is good. Don't really need them. Again, we'll give this son another county here. And then we will form Germany. I think. Yes. And then we will immediately add a succession law to Germany. This is the way we keep our realm together. Put it to our current player heir, our oldest son for the moment. Now we will expect to get a number of vassals given to us. One of our vassals that we just got is fighting yeah, 757 gold. So anyway, one of the vassals we just got is defending in a war against Bavaria. Let's raise our armies and go take care of that. I think we'll be okay attacking Bavaria here. That is the war goal, I believe, so we definitely want to unsiege it. Looks like Bavaria is heading off elsewhere, so I'll have to track them down. The main thing is to unsiege the war goal so that they're not getting ticking war score. Right, I will take attrition. Don't want to take attrition. That's where one of my sons is. Oh, damn. I really don't want them to kill him or do anything bad. I don't know that I can make it there in time, unfortunately. Some Eastern European family that is producing a lot of genius daughters. So hopefully our son does not die in this siege. Still gonna take, no, I don't take any attrition. Okay, great. Let's go kill this guy's armies. Hopefully. I don't know. Man, just in the nick of time, really. So this is the elder of our two sons, younger sons, particularly this guy. Content, I don't really like that much. I mean, it's okay, but the concern becomes there's another event where your options are ambitious, paranoid, and sadistic. And if you've already taken content, you can't take ambitious, which means you're stuck with paranoid and sadistic. Paranoid is just terrible because of the stress. Sadistic, I know some people are fans of because you get to off your children. As I talked about before, that's something I do not do. And the other problem with sadistic is I think it's -10 general opinion, and it's sinful, so that's another -10. So if you're sadistic, that's -20 vassal opinion for that one trait. And so I'm always paranoid, pardon the pun, about taking content with the concern that that future event will pop up. I think I would just rather him be trusting. Some diplomacy. It's not great, but it's okay. Then we'll also try to influence him to actually get a good trait like temperate. We'll come back and try to siege the capital. I think once I've done this, I will hold a feast. Both to lose a little bit of stress that I do have, and also to improve vassal opinion. That's a very interesting attack there, sir. I don't know what the hell you were doing, but over here they are trying to siege the war goal. Obvious problem is they are way too close to me. Again, just great that we have all these genius little girls. Guess they're related to our family in some way. Have to admit I don't know how, but it's okay. How doesn't matter so much as the what. Take another check on our children here. This one, certainly want him to study a language. 10 more years. Can we make it? I don't know. It is going to be quite dicey. Can't disband our armies because those raiders are too close, apparently. Now we can disband. Let's hold that feast I talked about. Let's hold it over here in Emden. Don't need prestige, but I do want opinion gain. Everything else looks good. So while we host that feast, what else do we want to do? Looks like Bavaria is holding East Franconia. I mean, we could go attack him for East Franconia. It is part of our realm. See, our liege here has his capital in, where is that? Passau? Nassau. He has that, just that one county holding, surrounded by our lands. Is Worms a separate? Who does own Worms? Norland. Okay. I talked before about we're in total exclave independence, and that applies to all characters, both NPCs and me. And so when that guy from Norland dies, the current ruler, this Worms will become independent. Presumably, it'll be easy to vassalize. So one thing when we're talking about genetic traits and why I want this genius child, my son, to marry this genius is my understanding, and this is laid forth in great detail in the CK3 wiki, is that basically for genetic traits the game looks back to 2 generations. So if you had a grandfather who was, say, a genius, that increases the likelihood that his grandchildren are going to be a genius. On the flip side, if you have a situation where your grandfather wasn't a genius, but your father was a genius, then when determining these genetics for the grandchild, it takes into account that the grandfather wasn't a genius, and so ideally you'd have 2 generations going back be geniuses. And so the idea here is that once, if we play as this character, if we're lucky enough, and they have children, those children are going to be geniuses. Both their parents will have been geniuses. One of their grandparents, particularly, this kid's mother, is going to be a genius, and that should really increase the chances that their grandchildren will have the genius trait. And at that point, we can, also breed in, beautiful Herculean, and whatever other traits we want. And so that's sort of the rationale to marry those 2, and also just to really ensure that they have genius children. Because again, of the the 3 genetic traits, I think certainly to me, and I think just sort of obvious in general, that genius is the most important one. More opportunities to get gold from our subjects here. We will always take those. Speaking of opportunities to get gold, from our subjects, how long until we can host another grand tour? 2 years, okay? So again, just extort my couriers as much as I can. That one there is less good, but always happy to get gold. Okay, where is this plague? It's quite far away from our capital. I mean, I guess we'll do that. Spend some prestige. That's a very nice knight. Glad our liege has learned Dutch. We should take another look at our rulers to see who is not Catholic. Particularly our direct vassals, we want to be Catholic, so they are less likely to rebel against us, and particularly less likely to rebel against our heir, whoever it will be. Let those demands go through. I hate to give up weak hooks, but his military is similar to ours, really. I press F to doubt. I do not think his military is similar to ours. Want East Franconia since it is part of our de jure lands, since we are the king of Germany. Attack him since he is. Let's see what else, what other kind of claims we can get here, since so many people seem to have claims on him. Well, I guess we didn't really need to spend the piety to get the claim, but whatever. I have no idea why they think our military is similar. I think that is I think that is badly mistaken, and I will now prove it. I'm not sure what the game is looking at there, frankly. Maybe I lose this war, and that's not me, right? Yeah, it's some other poor old guy. Yeah, maybe I lose this war, and I regret it, and the game will eat my words, but I do not think our armies are similar. I'll take a light approach. To me, that means a soft approach here. We'll see if it comes up near our capital, in which case we'll who are great-grands. I don't even know who these people are anymore. And the question, if there was someone who's Herculean or beautiful, I'd rather have him be... Can I not? Okay, I'd rather have him, who's, you know, possibly going to be an heir, rather have him be married to this genius girl. And now I lost, well, whatever. I guess I'll be dutiful and actually go find who that kid was and make sure he's properly married. Okay. Yeah, I mean, if there was someone who was Herculean, to go up to 10, there's someone who's Herculean or beautiful. She's 9 years older than him, but she is beautiful. That increases fertility. Let's do this. They should still have a decent number of children. You can see that our dynasty is really expanding, you know, 36 members. We will complete the siege and then head over to attack their army. We'll check on our beloved young sons again. I want him to be temperate. Not taking any attrition by moving over there. We are going to inflict some collateral damage on that army. Let's have well-supplied armies. Gosh, I thought our armies were similar. I don't think they are. Just a strange calculation by the game in that particular instance to think our armies were similar. All right, let's see what we have here. You know, we have this ton of different journals, which on the one hand you could say, oh, this is sort of pointless. Why do we have all these journals? On the other hand, they can be useful upon succession to use as gifts to potentially rebellious vassals, and so all those journals can be quite helpful. Okay, so I could, if I wanted to, I get a claim on the empire title of our liege. I don't want to do that. I have no idea what this army is doing. I would think if I was a soldier in that army, I would refuse that command to you know, effectively off oneself by attacking a vastly more powerful army. Reduce our stress here. We want to have as little stress as possible all the time now that we have the faltering heart trait. It'd be quite silly to live all this way and then die of a faltering heart. Bavaria has re-raised its armies. They just see someone took over as our steward. I mean, he's not a bad steward, so not that objectionable. Okay, another of our subjects at 100. What our offensive war penalty is, if anything. -3, not very much. Oh, definitely want this guy as our knight. Even though he's a little on the expensive side, I think he's worth it. Get him married here. Is this guy unduly expensive? No. He's also a pretty good knight, you know, 14 prowess, nothing to complain about. Okay. Just check there because we had invited some knights, and I remember getting one knight. So our liege just died at 68. That's what, 27 years younger than we are? And he had the godlike health boost, being a scourge conqueror. We have really lived quite a ways here. The main question is he a scourge conqueror? Yes. So, only holding, really? Why does he only have one domain? Wait, what? Northumbria. Was he elected? What the hell happened there? So what's confusing is this guy, you know, he's only holding one domain and he's the wrong house, the wrong dynasty. Right, because obviously their first two rulers were off Sigurdr, you know, Sigurdr snake in the eye. I guess this guy was elected. That's the only explanation. I mean, at least he... I'm always curious about what the AI is doing here. I mean, did he not have... He had tons of sons, including this guy. Well, I mean, I guess the concern here is... I'm surprised he... Oh, he was brutally mauled. Okay, fine. No idea how, but... being brutally mauled would probably do it. So it wasn't that he died from old age or his bones so much as he died from being, you know, just massively injured. I mean, he did have, so he only had one child that was an adult, one male child. Minors cannot inherit the Scourge Conqueror trait. So that's if Scourge Conqueror's primary heir is younger than 16, then that is a guaranteed loss of the Scourge Conqueror trait. So at least that didn't happen. All right, so we got a whole bunch of counties. Son, would you like some counties? I mean, I'm always a bit leery of giving my primary heir land, but, you know, there's some chance this won't be my primary heir. He's 51. I'm probably not going to live that much longer. Is his wife too old to have children? Yep. I think we do this. Hopefully I will live long enough that one of my two younger sons will be my heir. And again, I just really like giving land to my dynasty members. I could have seen if there was some dynasty member who was not my child who could have taken that land, but wait. Okay, Denmark is part of. Okay, so. So Denmark did inherit. These off Sigurdr. Okay, what happened? What happened to your oldest son? He holds a couple of counties, but your second son holds multiple kingdoms. 4 kingdoms. All right. Oh, whatever. I'm just confused as to how the succession and divvying up of titles went down there. I mean, it doesn't really affect me that much. Except this guy is quite weak for a Scourge Conqueror. I mean, presumably he will get some more land to become more powerful, but at the moment, he's not great. I mean, I could probably beat him, especially since he's only holding 1 county. Just some weird stuff happening here. I don't think it's in my interest to attack him. I could go pay. No, I don't want to pay homage to him because he hasn't held a coronation yet. Okay, so you can see here, we're doing very well with our quite elderly character. Let's look at our children again. We can never look at them enough. We want to make sure that we are educating them as well as we possibly can. Our 2 youngest sons. I mean, if I I don't know. If I really wanted to, I could claim Germania and then just attack him and take it over. I think that would be a very, very bold move. Man. Do I really want to do that? I just think the problem is when this character dies, the rebellions would just be massive. Huh. And so again, we'll just let me describe everything that's going on here, and instead of me just sitting in silent contemplation. So our prior liege died because he was brutally mauled. Somehow, some way, not sure why, our liege became this gentleman here, who is from a different dynasty, and indeed seems to be the only member of his dynasty. Not sure how he ended up as the ruler of this giant realm instead of another member of the Sigurdr dynasty, descended from Jarl Sigurdr, Snake in the Eye, but that's all irrelevant for this purpose. This guy is our liege. he only holds a single county. That single county is smack dab in the middle of our realm. We can claim our liege's title of the High Kingdom of Germania, which is, well, which is most of the kingdom, most of the realm that is currently being ruled here. If we wanted to, we could do this, start a war for our claim, go siege down his one county here, and I believe that is the end of the war, because he only holds this one county. I could be wrong. Maybe that's wrong. Yeah, I think we probably that's probably wrong, because he would still, even though we'd have his, I take it back. So even though we'd have his capital, there would still be other land around us that would be loyal to him. I think we would get ticking war score. It would be a big advantage. But beyond that, he only has less than 5,000 troops, so less than half of ours. He doesn't have a huge amount of gold. I mean, we have much more gold. If we really wanted to, I think we could beat him in a war. We would bring in 3 special mercenary groups. Oh, he's Catholic. That's interesting. There's a good chance here that he creates the Holy Roman Empire. That was also one thing I meant to say. Earlier this episode, I talked about why I did not change to also true when our prior liege reformed it, and he asked us to, and I wanted to remain Catholic, and I gave some reasons, but another reason is it seems like in these games, even if you have Vikings that conquer most of Europe, eventually they end up Catholic, and that they form or reform the Holy Roman Empire. And my guess is that this is what this guy will do. The question becomes, do we attack him? Do we get a claim on Germania and attack him and basically take over this entire empire, this entire realm? I guess Carpathia is separate, but so this chunk he would still retain, but we'd have so much of Iberia, we'd have all into Scandinavia, all of Western Europe, most of Central Europe, except for Bohemia, Bohemia is a scourge conqueror, so that is interesting to note. So if we were to take over this realm, we would have to deal with Bohemia. Let's look more generally. There are not that many scourge conquerors at the moment. Kyrgyz is over. Where's Kyrgyz? Okay, Kyrgyz is far to our east, up in Siberia. The Kipchaks are a bit scattered, but not that close to us. The Yemenis look quite strong. They occupy, Arabia, Abyssinia. Bohemia, we've talked about. I think I had another game. I think it may have been my very first campaign where we had this weird, Kruserite scourge conqueror, show up in the middle of Europe. And I think we have a bit of a repeat of that since we have these Kruserites who have somehow popped up here. Then we have the Varma Kingdom. I assume that's over up here in India. Okay, but only 6 scourge conquerors, so not as many. I usually expect 10 to 12. So yeah, I mean the question really becomes: do we roll the dice here and try to take over this entire realm? Perhaps we convert it into the Holy Roman Empire. From there, perhaps become administrative and, sort of move on from there. It's very intriguing. I think what I'm going to do is end this episode here and then think about it. Normally, and maybe this is an issue with how I record these episodes, what would be best would be for me to ask all of you to please comment and think, and say, do you think I should go for taking over all of Germania? But I assume if anyone did comment, they would say, yes, go for it, let's see it. But I'm actually recording this episode, several days, about a week before I'm likely to publish it. So I will almost certainly play that decision before this gets published and anyone has the opportunity to comment on it. But in the event, so we have a very intriguing decision here. I hope you have enjoyed this episode. Please like, subscribe, comment when it does come out. If you have, and I hope you will join me for the future episodes, and we'll see what sort of decision I make in terms of whether we want to really grasp the crown and take over this huge empire. Thanks very much for watching, and goodbye.